Well, footage for the third season of Lucasfilm's hit Disney Plus series, titled The Mandalorian, was shown exclusively to fans in attendance at Star Wars Celebration this past year. The collective public finally got to see an official trailer for the series at D23 this past weekend. It begins with a voiceover from the Armorer that basically summarizes what has happened in the previous two seasons. Mando saved Grogu, and the two of them became a clan of two. He then had to take his helmet off, and according to Children of the Watch traditions, he is not a Mandalorian anymore. As Din grows to learn more and more about Mandalorian culture, and about how he was raised in a cult with special rules that really have no meaning to the majority of Mandalorians, I could see the Armorer becoming a minor villain of the series. Once he metaphorically breaks out of his shell that he was been raised in, Din could come back and confront her. It looks like this season will be all about what it means to be a true Mandalorian. Din will be traveling to the waters of Mandalore to cleanse his sins, but he may realize that that isn't what makes someone Mandalorian. It doesn't matter if you remove your helmet, and going in some special water sure isn't going to fix that. Being a Mandalorian is about one's ability in combat, and the culture they share as warriors. We're also going to see a conflict between Din and Bo-Katan over the Darksaber, and what it means to be the one wielding it. It's supposed to symbolize power and leadership over all Mandalorians, but the last time Bo-Katan had that blade, her people were massacred by the Empire, and to Din it's just a fancy lightsaber. I think throughout the series the Darksaber will come to represent more than just the control, but also the responsibility that comes with it. The responsibility to stand for one's people, not just to rule over them. During the Armorer's voiceover, we get a shot of Din landing on Navarro in his new N-1 starfighter, and with time having passed since the Imperial presence was removed, the planet looks much livelier than before. We also see Din and Grogu in some sort of cavern, which may in fact be the waters of Mandalore, as well as a Mandalorian gauntlet fighter soaring through the clouds. After some footage of Din and the N-1 in a dogfight in space, we see that Bo-Katan has officially taken up residence in what I assume to be the Mandalore throne room, as she looks out of the window. One of my most anticipated aspects of this season is to return to Mandalore and learn more about what has happened. One of my favorite moments from the series so far has been when we got the flashback to the Night of 1,000 Tears, with Mandalore in flames as Imperial bombers streamed overhead. I've always been interested in Mandalorian culture, so I'm very much looking forward to returning to the planet and seeing what has happened since we were last there in Star Wars Rebels. We then see Din with some new Mandalorians with a very unique armor, which is followed by multiple quick shots of different Mandalorians. We saw quite a lot of them on Navarro in Season 1, but Season 2 had a very limited collection of Mandalorians beyond Din and Bo-Katan, and I think that this is very much going to change in this season. It sounds like Bo-Katan blames the Children of the Watch for fracturing the Mandalorian people, which I think will be a very interesting thing to explore. I'm assuming she's referring to the downfall of the Mandalorians, and the Children of the Watch may have had a role in that we don't know yet, but at least with the information that we have, it had more to do with Bo-Katan refusing to work with the Empire, and them destroying the planet as a result. Or she could be referring all the way back to Death Watch and what they did during the Clone Wars. Like I said, getting more details about what happened to Mandalore and its people is one of the things I'm looking forward to. We get a quick shot of Grief Karga on Navarro, and he's looking as jubilant as ever, and we then get to see what has happened to Sundari from the perspective of that Mandalorian gauntlet fighter, and it shows just how far this powerful planet has fallen. After we get to see Bo-Katan on the throne on Mandalore for a short clip, the action really starts to pick up. I mentioned before how Navarro looks much more lively than in the previous seasons, and it looks like that will change by the end of the third season. A new group of Mandalorians likely affiliated with Bo-Katan can be seen dropping from a ship into the air above Navarro and begin shooting up the town and its citizens. Some final things that quickly came across the screen during the end. Dr. Pershing makes a small appearance in the trailer, so we'll be seeing him again and may learn more about whatever cloning effort he was a part of with the Empire. Penley will be returning again, so odds are we're heading back to Tatooine for an episode, which isn't all bad. We may get to see Cobb Vanth again, or Boba Fett. And lastly, an Anzellan is seen fixing up none other than IG-11. There was a report earlier in the year about what exactly IG-11 was going to be used for, and I think his appearance here nearly confirms it. but it is a major spoiler if true, so keep on the lookout for a separate video discussing that. I've also seen a lot of people saying that this is Babu Frick, but I really don't see any similarities between the two, other than them being the same species. It would make perfect sense for it to be just another Nu and Zelen. The species as a whole were gifted tinkerers and mechanics, so it doesn't have to be only Babu, even though seeing him again would be pretty neat. The third season of The Mandalorian was originally scheduled to premiere in February of the coming year, but with The Bad Batch being delayed to January, it doesn't seem likely that The Mandalorian isn't pushed back as well. If they're unwilling to have Andor and The Bad Batch have episodes premiere at the same time, it doesn't seem likely like they're going to let their flagship series, in The Mandalorian, share release dates with Bad Batch either. The Bad Batch Season 2 consists of 16 episodes with a 2-episode premiere, so that series will wrap up in the middle of April. So until an official release date is announced, it seems like that The Mandalorian Season 3 won't premiere until May at the earliest. Young Jedi Adventures, Star Wars Visions Season 2, Ahsoka, and Skeleton Crew were also all announced to be releasing in 2023, but with the recent delays this seems very unlikely. According to reports, Ahsoka still has a few more months left of shooting, while Skeleton Crew was announced to have wrapped in the past couple of weeks, so Ahsoka seems like the likely candidate to be pushed back into 2024. But it is possible that Lucasfilm will manage to fit every series into the year. Let me know how excited you are for the third season of The Mandalorian in the comments below. Remember to like the video, and subscribe for more breakdowns like this, as well as reviews, news updates, lore deep dives, and more. And remember to follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Thank you all for watching, and remember, the Force will be with you, always.